Aries, my friend, welcome back. Before we go any deeper into today's message, let me say this clearly. Right from the start, you did not arrive here by accident. Something much larger has been moving around your life, quietly, steadily, almost like a current beneath the surface. And if your spirit felt pulled toward this video, it's because the universe wants you to hear something that not everyone is ready to receive. Let me tell you a truth, right here, right now. A door is getting ready to open for you, and your life will not be the same after this. If you've been feeling lately like you're standing in the middle of strange changes, like something is waiting for you just ahead, but hasn't revealed itself yet, then stay with me. Because what comes next is the explanation for everything you've been sensing. Deep within the quiet current of the universe, there is a soft vibration moving toward you, Aries. Not a loud calling, not a sudden shock, but a feeling. Almost like someone gently placing a hand on your shoulder, reminding you to pause for a moment and listen. A thin strand of light, delicate as silk, has just touched the horizon of your life. It's a sign that you've been chosen to hear this message before everything shifts onto a new path. Aries, you may not see everything that's moving around you, but your soul does. It senses the change in the invisible air, the place where destinies are written in ink the human eye can't detect. There have been nights when you lay down thinking it was only exhaustion, when in truth, it was the feeling of transformation slowly growing inside you. The silence of those days wasn't empty. It was the sky, holding its breath before the sun rises. You've felt your path changing shape. Some parts became darker, longer, as if life was testing whether you still had the patience to keep going. And there were moments you felt yourself touching a door that refused to open, even though you could sense something waiting behind it. You've stood there longer than you realized. You knocked softly, then harder, then waited in complete stillness. Not because you were weak, but because the place you were standing on was the threshold of a new chapter that hadn't been named yet. This waiting was never meaningless. You've been standing at a sacred crossroads, the place where light and shadow meet to rearrange what truly belongs to you. You weren't abandoned there. You were held there, just long enough for the wrong energies to fall away from your orbit. What once weighed on your shoulders is fading, layer by layer, like snow melting under the early sun. You've carried more than most people know. There are wounds you folded away like old letters, mistakes you held in silence, dreams you had to tuck into the back of your heart because life wouldn't let you open them at the time. Still, you kept walking, with a courage even you sometimes forget you have. And it's that resilience, quiet, steady, that made the universe choose you now. There's a gentle truth you need to hear. You haven't been on the wrong path. You've simply outgrown the version of yourself that started this journey. You've walked far enough that going back is no longer possible. Forward is the only direction that fits who you've become. If you listen closely, you'll sense a beam of light behind all the chaos, calling you to take just half a step more. Half a step, yet enough to shift the entire landscape of your life. That light doesn't come from the outside. It rises from within you, from the person you're becoming, the one who carried their wounds without losing their kindness. And now, as the dust of your old days settles, a new rhythm touches the air around you. Soft, but unmistakable. Quiet, but real. Like the warmth that spreads from a single match struck in the dead of winter. Small, yet bright enough to show you that you are standing very, very close to what you've been waiting for all this time. Deep inside those days that felt frozen in place, there was a quiet current moving beneath it all. Aries. Something working silently, beyond what your eyes could see. People around you might have thought you were slowing down, held back, losing direction. But only you and the universe knew the truth. That entire phase was like a sealed room where your soul was placed to be washed clean, to strip away the dust of all the years behind you. Not a prison, but a workshop. a place where the old framework was taken apart so you could step out in a new form. Aries, the silence of life sometimes made you feel left behind. Plans fell through, doors shut without warning. You gave everything, yet moved so little. It felt like hanging between two shores, unable to return to the past, unable to fully step into the future. But the truth is, that was the moment the universe placed a hand on your soul and whispered, "Let me rearrange this for you." You weren't stuck. You were being refined. You weren't held back. You were being carried to the exact rhythm of divine timing. Just like a long rain makes a tree look still, while its roots push deeper, stronger, steadier beneath the soil, you were growing in ways your eyes couldn't witness. Every thought, every feeling, every old wound was being moved into its rightful place. That suspended phase taught you how to stand still inside chaos. It forced you to face the truth that some things can't be controlled, can't be rushed, can't be forced open. It taught you that real strength isn't always in speed, but in knowing how to wait for the right moment. The moment when every cell in you is finally ready to receive what it once could not hold. Think about the times you tried to fix everything by moving faster, tried to grip things that were already at their ending, tried to outrun the truth that your soul needed a little space to breathe. This past phase gave you that space. It pulled you back not to punish you, but to protect you from stepping too soon, to keep you from hurting yourself, to make sure the new wouldn't mix with the pieces of the old that were still breaking. Most people never see the beauty of a suspended season, but you, somehow, walked through it with a quiet steadiness even you didn't realize you had. Inside that stillness, a new Aries was forming, more mature, deeper, clearer. Like a jeweler patiently carving away the rough stone until a gem emerges. The universe worked on you the same way. When you look back, you'll see that time was like a foggy bridge. You couldn't see where it led, but you walked anyway, because your soul knew something waited on the other side. Not a reward, a return. A return to the strength you lost in the long years of surviving. A return to the flame you were born with. The moment you realize you're no longer drowning in the whirlpool of waiting, something soft will rise within you. Not a burst of fireworks, not a sudden awakening. More like a layer of gentle light spreading from inside, showing you that you're ready to step into a different rhythm of life. Almost as if everything up to now was preparing your soul for the very shift it's about to touch. Beneath the calm surface of your everyday life, a door is closing, Aries. Quietly, gently, like the final breath of an old dream, yet powerful enough to shake the inner ground you've been standing on for years. A long cycle, a very long one, is coming to its end. Not with noise, but with the certainty of something that has finished its purpose. There is nothing left to hold on to, nothing left to fix. What once supported you has become a shell too small to contain who you've grown into. What you're facing is not loss. It is God's gentle retrieval, as if He is gathering everything that no longer belongs to your spirit. People drift away, fears fall off, old habits dissolve, limited beliefs crack open like dry earth at the end of a long drought. He isn't taking anything from you to punish you. He's returning you to the shape He intended for you all along. Aries, think back to the times you held onto a toxic relationship because the emptiness felt even scarier. The nights you clung to an old habit, even though it drained your energy. The mornings you woke up with whispers of self-doubt, self-blame, self-limitation. All of that wove a thick cocoon around your soul, and now that cocoon is cracking open, piece by piece. Not by accident, not by disaster. This is death, the tarot's sacred ending. A deliberate closing, unavoidable, unstoppable. Inside this ending, there is an invisible hand, warm, steady, full of authority. When you think you're losing someone, you're actually being pulled by God away from a path that was never meant for you. When part of your life seems to crumble, He is making room for grace. When you feel separated from what once felt familiar, He is guiding you toward the version of yourself you prayed for long before you had the strength to become it. Aries, you may wonder why certain things had to end so abruptly, why you had to release your grip before you understood all the reasons. But God doesn't move by human logic. He moves by the maturity of the soul. When He sees you outgrowing the old threshold, He closes the doors that can no longer hold you, even if you're not brave enough to close them yourself. Let yourself feel this. Every time you release someone who once hurt you, a layer of darkness is lifted. Every time you walk away from an old pattern, a new path appears. Every time you face a fear that once made you small, you rise into a higher version of who you are. All of this unfolds under the guidance of a presence who sees what you cannot. He knows where your feet are meant to step next. He knows the weight you can carry. He knows exactly what will make your soul shine. Aries, this is the moment you realize you are not losing anything. You are being unfastened from what kept you small. You are not being pushed away from someone. You are being pulled by God out of situations that would have dimmed your light completely if you stayed. A cycle is dying, yes, but this death is not frightening. It's like the final candle going out in a room that has grown too old, so you can open the door into another space. Cleaner, wider, brighter. A place God prepared for you long ago, waiting for the day you became strong enough to walk into it. As the door behind you closes, you'll hear the new breath of life opening in front of you. No need to rush. Just let your soul lean gently toward the place that has just been lit. Aries, some gifts don't come through the door you've been watching. They fall from the sky in ways you could never predict. The Ace of Pentacles carries the mark of divine intervention. It's as if God opens His hand, just slightly, and lets a golden seed drop right where your soul is standing. No loud noise, no bright fireworks, just a strange, gentle feeling, a quiet sense that something good is moving toward you, even if you can't name it yet. For a long time, you've been living in a state of constant effort trying to make progress, wondering why your hard work didn't bring the results you deserved. You tried different paths, pushed harder than anyone realized, sometimes to the point of exhaustion. But God moves in ways the human mind cannot calculate. He knows when you've poured out your last drop of strength. He knows when you need a hand from a place no one else can reach. He let you walk through the difficult stretch not to abandon you, but to make you strong enough to receive the gift that was already on its way. Aries, the prosperity moving toward you isn't something you can think your way into. It may show up as an unexpected opportunity, a message out of nowhere, an invitation you never imagined was meant for you. It might be money you thought was long forgotten, or a new stream of income you never had a name for. It might even be an idea arriving when you finally relax, like someone placing a hand on your shoulder and whispering, "This is your path." That idea could be the key you've been searching for all these years. A key that opens the door you couldn't open before, not because you lacked skill, but because the timing wasn't ready. When God has aligned everything, the door doesn't need force. A light touch is enough. This abundance isn't coming to help you survive one more day. It carries the energy of transformation. It's like standing before the ocean for the first time, after years of only seeing small ponds. Vast, deep, wider than anything you pictured. Not just enough to patch old wounds, but enough to place you into a new position, steadier, freer, more expansive. You might wonder why it's all arriving now. The answer lives inside God's silence. He waited until you stepped away from what no longer served you, until the cleansing inside you was complete, until money stopped being a fear and started becoming a tool for building the life you were meant to live. He did not send this to help you prove anything to the world, but to bring you back to your true mission. Aries, slow your heart just a little and feel this. There will be moments when everything around you seems unusually calm. A morning when you wake up and the air feels lighter, as if something in your life is quietly unfolding. That is the sign of movement. Abundance is approaching you in a steady, deliberate way, like the first beam of morning light sliding through the darkness. No rush, yet nothing can stop it. Open your heart just a little wider to receive it. Because when the Ace of Pentacles appears, you're not just turning a new page. You're stepping into the part of your life that God always intended you to live, full of light, full of dignity, full of blessing. Aries, in the darker corners of your life, the ones you'd rather not step into, something has been happening more quietly than you realized. There is someone, or even a small group of people, who have been watching your steps with eyes that are anything but pure. Not because you are weak, but because your light is strong enough to unsettle hearts that haven't healed. This person saw your potential long before you did. They sensed the brightness of your future, and instead of learning from it, they chose to shrink back into the shadows and look for ways to dim your path. The Seven of Swords never appears by accident. It's like a soft knock on the door, just enough for you to know something is off, but not enough to see clearly who's hiding behind the curtain. Aries, the person carrying this heavy energy may be someone who once offered you gentle smiles, warm words, a friendly presence. They entered your life with care, yet behind you, they twisted your words, told distorted stories, and planted seeds of doubt to see how far you would fall. This could be someone who once called you their closest friend, a coworker pretending to understand you, a family member always pushing their way into your decisions, or someone standing at a distance, still finding ways to pin uncertainty into your journey. Some people don't necessarily want you to fail, they just can't bear the thought of you succeeding. Their inner conflict becomes a weight you end up carrying without knowing why. Your spirit feels tired. Aries, the time has come for you to know the truth. God has seen what you could not see. He has heard the whispers spoken in the dark, and the quiet prayers you sent up when you felt betrayed, or used, or misunderstood. He stayed silent not because he ignored you, but because every hidden thing must reveal itself at the right time. And now, as a new stream of light enters your life, the darkness has nowhere left to hide. When blessings are on their way, dishonesty cannot stay in your orbit. This unveiling isn't coming to wound you, it's coming to free you. It's like opening a window in a room you didn't realize had been rotting for years. The light doesn't arrive to frighten you, it arrives so you finally know it's time to step out. You don't owe anyone your silence anymore. You don't owe explanations. You don't owe endurance to anyone's shadow. The person carrying this dark energy will reveal themselves in the most natural way. A slip of the tongue, an exposed attitude, or a situation they accidentally create for themselves. God doesn't need you to retaliate. He balances everything with perfect justice. They will face their lesson, and you only need to keep moving with a lighter heart. Aries, when the truth appears, you won't be as shocked as you once would have been. Your soul has sensed this for a long time. You were simply waiting for that final piece of light to show you the full face behind the mask. Now the light has arrived. It will shine on the places that once made you uneasy and lead you out of the heavy energy you've been carrying far too long. Aries, after all the days when your soul had to stretch itself thin just to survive what felt far beyond your limits, a gentleness is finding its way back to you. Not the kind of peace you used to know, but a peace formed through cracks that have been healed by light. The star arrives like a new breath, so pure, so quiet that you may wonder how your heart can open again after everything it has endured. You may have forgotten what true calm feels like. Forgotten what it's like to fall asleep without carrying tomorrow's worries into the morning. Forgotten the feeling of looking in the mirror without hearing a voice of doubt whispering back at you. For so long, you've used every bit of your strength to hold yourself together, to fight, to question, to search for a way out. But now, the star places a gentle hand over your chest, soothing the old wounds that still pulse beneath the surface. You don't have to chase peace anymore. It is making its way toward you on its own. Under this light, something begins to glow again inside you, soft, subtle, yet unmistakably alive. You are no longer the person who trembled in the dark. Faith is returning, not blind hope, but the grounded trust of someone who has lived through the storm and knows exactly how strong they are. You are seeing your worth more clearly, listening to yourself with real respect, and the prayers you once thought were echoing into emptiness now feel answered by a presence that responds through silence, not noise. Aries, your intuition is coming back in a very distinct way. The chaotic voices have quieted. The fog of doubt no longer blurs the signs around you. Every message now reaches you with clarity, like light moving through clear water, revealing even the smallest shift in your spirit. You begin to know when to move forward, when to hold back, when to stay silent, and when to open your heart again. As the star shines on your path, it washes away the heavy energy you've been carrying for far too long. Those emotional fragments pressed against your chest are loosening, scattering, like dust lifted by a soft wind from tired hands. Your body feels lighter, your breath deeper, your thoughts clearer. You can feel the purity within yourself, a purity you thought you had lost somewhere in the long years of surviving. Aries, you are reconnecting with the sacred light of the universe, not because you are favored, but because you have learned the most important truth. When the heart opens, light can finally enter. The star does not perform miracles. It places you at the frequency where miracles can reach you. Standing in its glow, you become a clear channel for everything good that has been trying to find you. No more resistance, no more whispers of fear dulling the signs God is sending your way. Now, you are like water after a long rain, still, yet full of life, gentle, yet deep. And in that stillness, you sense a new current forming, soft as starlight drifting into a quiet stream. It calls you forward so gently you don't even notice that you've already stepped out of the old territory and into the next layer of your journey. A place where the light not only guides you, but begins shaping a future that has been waiting for your arrival. Aries, when the sun enters your path, it's more than a light shining on the road ahead. It is the light that marks a complete turning of destiny. After all the nights your soul had to feel its way through chaos, after the days when you believed you had nothing left to hold on to, you now stand here inside a brightness that no darkness can reach. This isn't the light of sudden luck. It is the light of someone who has lived, fallen, risen, and matured through the very seasons that tried to take all their faith away. Aries, for far too long, your heart forgot the brilliance inside you. You've known joy before, but sometimes it was so fragile that the slightest breeze could put it out. You once held big dreams, then set them aside because life kept demanding more than you could give. Now, the sun doesn't come to hand you a new joy. It comes to awaken the joy that has been sleeping in you, the original joy, pure, bold, fearless, the very essence your Aries soul was created with. There are victories you never gave yourself credit for. There are battles you fought that no one ever saw. There are sorrows you healed in silence. But God saw all of it. He saw you choose to stand even when your legs trembled. He saw you choose kindness even when you were hurting. He saw you choose the light even while the dark kept trying to pull you under. The sun arrives not to reward you but to confirm that your journey deserves to shine again. Aries, the obstacles that once stopped you are now nothing more than small stones beneath your feet. You no longer belong to the same old ground. You have grown taller, wider, stronger. When you look back, you'll see that the things that once broke your heart are now just blurred lessons, no longer gripping your chest the way they used to. You've stepped out of the cage you once believed was home. Now you're placed in an open space so wide that the light feels like it can touch every strand of your hair. The sun brings the color of joy without conditions, joy born from inner freedom, joy born from knowing that no matter what comes, you can still stand tall. Joy born from finally seeing your worth without needing anyone to validate it. From this moment on, you no longer live in defense. You live in receiving what is worthy, what is honest, what brings sustainable abundance, not temporary compromises. Aries, this is a chapter you cannot turn away from. Once you step into this light, your heart will recognize that this is where you were meant to stand, not curled up in rooms too small for your spirit. You are reborn not into a new person but into the truest version of yourself, the one God created before life made you forget. As this light spreads, you will feel yourself walking lighter, more confidently. You might not notice it all at once, but this warmth is opening a new layer of living, a place where every step you take moves toward a future alive with strength. Aries, when the sun enters your path, it isn't just a light shining over a small stretch of road. It is the light that marks a complete turning of destiny. After all the long nights when your soul had to feel its way through chaos, after the days when you believed you had nothing left to hold on to, you now stand here, inside a radiance untouched by any shadow. This is not the light of sudden luck. It is the light of someone who has lived, fallen, risen, and grown through seasons that tried to strip away every last piece of faith. Aries, it has been far too long since your heart felt its own brilliance. You've known joy, but sometimes it was so fragile that even a soft breeze could put it out. You carried dreams once, but you let them sleep because life pulled you into a whirlwind of responsibilities. Now, the sun does not come to give you new joy. It comes to awaken the joy that has been sleeping inside you, the original joy, pure, proud, courageous, the joy your Aries soul was created with. There are things you overcame without ever giving yourself credit, challenges you endured when no one was watching, sorrows you mended in silence because you had no one to tell. But God saw all of it. He saw you stand even when your legs trembled. He saw you choose kindness even while you were hurting. He saw you choose the light even when the dark kept circling your feet. The sun arrives not as a reward, but as confirmation that your journey deserves to blaze again. Aries, the barriers that once stopped you are now nothing more than small stones beneath your feet. You no longer belong to the old ground you used to walk on. You have grown taller, wider, stronger. And when you look back, you'll see that the things that once brought you to your knees are now nothing but faint lessons, no longer pressing against your chest the way they used to. You've escaped the cage you once mistook for home. Now you stand in an open space so wide the light feels like it can touch every strand of your hair. The sun carries the color of joy without conditions. Joy born from inner freedom. Joy born from knowing that no matter what comes, you can stand tall. Joy born from finally seeing your worth without needing anyone to confirm it. From this moment on, you will no longer live in a defensive posture. You will live in a receiving posture, receiving what is worthy, what is honest, what brings you lasting abundance, not temporary compromise. Aries, this is a chapter you cannot walk away from. Once you step into this light, your heart will remember that this is where you were always meant to stand, not curled inside rooms too small for your spirit. You are reborn not into a new person, but into the truest version of yourself, the one God created long before life made you forget. As this light spreads, you'll feel yourself moving differently, lighter, steadier, more confident. You may not notice it at first, but that warmth is opening a whole new layer of living, a place where every step you take moves toward a future filled with life, a future that has been waiting for you for far too long.